This is big breaking emergency news. A state of emergency has been declared and fuel is running out. We are seeing major fuel disruptions and we are seeing warnings to fill your tanks right now. We are also seeing joint resolutions for war powers being issued right now as well in the Senate. War power resolutions to amplify what's going on in the Middle East with the United States and Iran is now being implemented in the Senate, right? We also have deployments of United States ships and carrier strike groups. Another strike group has been sent to the Middle East and U.S. forces are on high alert, right? So lots of big news going on right now. And this is why you need to have your tanks filled up, right? And they are now declaring a fuel emergency inside the U.S. and multiple different states are being hit hard right now. They're having fuel shortages and they're also having prices skyrocket right now. And this is not a good situation to be in with the things that are happening geopolitically as well. So let's dive into the details here really quick. Please just hit it up for me down there. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting every single day for you guys, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news. Okay, so first thing that I want to get to that is critical, right? This is really big. SJ Resolution 106. This is a joint resolution to authorize the use of United States armed forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons, right? That is what is being implemented right now in the Senate by Senator Lindsey Graham. He has implemented Resolution 106 and is trying to give the president powers to strike Iran, okay? This is a big development. We also have this fuel emergency, and this thing could get even worse if situations bubble over in the Middle East. If we see these fuel routes be disrupted and fuel lines cut off, we're already seeing this happen. We could see prices go up and shortages happen even more. All right, we'll get to that in just a second. But this is what this says. It says authorization of the use of military force against the Islamic Republic of Iran. It says the president is authorized to use all necessary and appropriate force against the Islamic Republic of Iran if the president determines that the Islamic Republic of Iran is, quote, in the possession or in the process of possessing a nuclear weapon that threatens the national security interests of the United States or possesses uranium enriched to weapons grade levels and possesses a nuclear warhead or possesses a delivery vehicle capable of carrying a nuclear warhead that threatens the national security interests of the United States. All right. So this was just implemented in the Senate and this could pass. The Senate is in a break right now, but we could see this resolution pass and give the president's authorization to strike Iran, okay? And just on July 23rd, this is also part of this Resolution 106. It says on July 23rd, 2024, the Office of Director of National Intelligence published an assessment in accordance with Iran Nuclear Weapons Capability and Terror Monitoring Act of 2022, which stated, quote, Iran continues to increase the size of its uranium stockpile, increase its enrichment capability, and develop, manufacture, and operate advanced centrifuges. Tehran has the infrastructure and experience to quickly produce weapon-grade uranium at multiple facilities if it chooses to do so. Now, therefore, be it. All right, so that is what a report by the Director of National Intelligence just last week published as well. So they're saying that they essentially have intel that Iran has nuclear weapons or can create nuclear weapons and has weapons-grade uranium, that they can produce these weapons at any moment. That's the official narrative that they are saying. And that's the narrative that they're saying, that to authorize this resolution 106, right? So this is big, and this is part of the reason why markets have been tanking. Okay, the Dow, the Nasdaq, everything is way down right now, hundreds of points. I think the Dow is down over 600 points closed out. Okay, this is why we're seeing trillions of dollars evaporated from the stock market right now, is because these war situations are escalating, right? And we also have deployments of carrier strike groups by the U.S. Defense Department. All right, we will get to that in just a second. But we are also seeing fuel emergencies being declared in multiple different states because they're having fuel shortages, and people need to be filling up their gas tanks, all right? Because if things pop off overseas as well, then this could affect markets here and gas prices globally, all right? This is what's happening right now. It says a fuel emergency has been declared in 4 different Midwest states, okay, as gas prices are soaring. It says the EPA is issuing an emergency order to alleviate gasoline shortages in 4 Midwest states after the shutdown of a refinery in Illinois. Okay, so you need to have your tanks filled up. You need to have your gas tanks in your car, your extra tanks filled up for your generator, and also your water tanks. All right, I just emptied out my big water tank, 200-gallon water tank, and cleaned it out because it was getting nasty. All right, it's been sitting there for months just as storage, and it was getting nasty, so I had to clear that out. Filter your tanks out. Your gas tanks go bad too if you don't have stabilizer. After a few months, all right, that gas gets nasty and it won't run good in your generator or car. All right, here are the 4 Midwest states. It says ExxonMobil shut down its refinery in Joliet, Illinois last month after a power outage when tornadoes and severe storms swept through the region. It says power has been restored, but it can take weeks to restart a facility like the ExxonMobil refinery about 40 miles outside of Chicago, which can produce about 9 million gallons of gasoline and diesel fuel per day. All right, this is a major refinery in Illinois. All right, it says this emergency also covers Wisconsin, Indiana, and Michigan. All right, and says the emergency has been declared through August 20th. And right now in Illinois, gas prices are, the average is $4 a gallon, which is equivalent on par to places like California and Washington on the West Coast, right? They're at $4 a gallon too. They're normally more expensive, but Illinois, the Midwest, Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, they're having elevated prices, and it's over $4 a gallon in some gas stations in Illinois right now, and there's major shortages, and some gas stations are having low availability. Okay, they will run out of gas at certain points. They'll get a refill, but they might be out of gas for the day or for 2 days and have the pumps shut down, right? That's what's being reported in the Midwest right now: Wisconsin, Indiana, Michigan, and Illinois. All right, so if you are in these states especially, you need to be stocking up. You need to have your gas tanks filled up and ready to go, and make sure you use approved gas tanks, right? Only use the ones that you buy at the store, the big old red tanks. Sometimes they're different colors, but most of the time it's just a big old red tank, and you need to use these specific tanks. All right, so have these filled up, have a generator, test your generator out. We were just running our generator a couple weeks ago, and I think it was cycling out some bad gas because I left some gas in it, and it was kind of cutting in and out for a little bit, and it wouldn't turn on the power for the RV, all right, or it wouldn't turn on the AC for the RV, all right. It couldn't get enough power for a while. It had to burn through this bad gas before it was running good again. All right, so run these things every couple months, get them out and run them, and make sure they're in tip-top shape in case we see any situations like this. All right, and have your tanks filled up, because you might not be able to get to work, right? When this happens in the South, right? This actually happens with the Colonial Pipeline hack. It was a giant cyber attack. This happened a few years ago in the Southeast, right? There were major gas shortages in places like Florida. In rural areas, there was no gas, right? I was calling family members hours away because I was going to drive down and visit them and making sure, hey, is there gas stations that actually have gas down there? Because if I drove down there, I would have been screwed. I would have been out of gas because none of them around me had gas, right? So that's something that can happen at any moment, right? And this is already happening in 4 different states right now. They're having major shortages. 9 million gallons of gas and diesel per day are offline, right? And this is 40 miles outside of Chicago, this ExxonMobil refinery, right? We also have deployments right now of U.S. carrier strike groups, right? It says the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin has ordered the deployment of the USS Abraham Lincoln and the ships of Carrier Strike Group 3 to the Middle East amid escalating tensions between Israel and Iran. Secretary Austin also ordered the deployment of an additional Air Force squadron and land-based ballistic missile defense batteries to the region, alongside several U.S. Navy cruisers and destroyers that are en route to the Mediterranean. Okay, so massive buildup. Right, they already sent over a dozen ships yesterday, destroyer ships and fleets, just yesterday, or in the past 48 hours. All right, they're on their way over there right now. And now they just ordered a Carrier Strike Group 3 to the same region. All right, so they're getting ready for something big to potentially shoot down hundreds of these drones and missiles that Iran could be launching in the next few days. Okay, and they're saying that they're not sure exactly when this attack will come, but they're saying that they're getting ready for it right now. And throughout Iran, there has been warnings on TV and radio that this is coming. All right, so we could see a similar event that happened in April, where there's a barrage and the U.S. is intercepting these missiles and drones from Iran heading towards Israel, right? That's the most likely scenario that they are getting ready for right now, right? So lots of escalations happening, lots of big things going on, and this is why you need to have your tanks filled up, your gas tanks and water tanks, your prepper pantry filled up, working on your homestead, right? Our chicks we already had some laying chicks, but now we have some chicks for breeding, okay? And now these chicks are at laying age. They're laying finally, so we have a ton of eggs, right? We've been trying to, we already had a small flock, right? So we're getting 6-7 eggs a day, right? Depending on how many they want to lay. Now we're getting dozens and dozens a day, and we've been eating a ton of more eggs, and a lot of these eggs are going in the incubator soon as well, right? Because we are going to be hatching out some of these breeds as meat birds, and we're going to be eating them as well too, right? So this is what we're working on here. It's go time, and we're also working on some other things behind the scenes to go bigger and better on the homestead and to be even more off-grid and more sustainable. All right, we're working on some things behind the scenes. I will keep you guys updated on that. We're trying to get things cleared up so we can move forward to bigger and better things. All right, because it's go time right now. It's go time. This is part of the reason we lived in our RV the past 3 years, right? Traveling off-grid. We had a little base, okay? We still have it. We have like a little base that we would go to and hang out on our RV, just some very primitive off-grid lands, right? And we have settled down recently, the past 6 months, because it's go time, right? It didn't feel safe not having a permanent homestead, right? And now we're going to be going even bigger and going even harder in this direction, right? Because it's go time. The way to have security going into the future is going to be having massive amounts of preps, being ready, prepared, and also being able to grow your own food and produce your own food. You guys have seen it, all these hits to the food supply. I've been reporting on it. They're activating these emergency powers for the food supply as well, right? And for these birds and chickens, there's a lot of stuff going on, all right? And it's all connected. This is all part of war, okay? The food supply is under attack. The energy supply is under attack, okay? This refinery is just shut down for weeks and weeks and weeks, okay? We've also seen about a dozen different refineries that have exploded and gone offline and never come back online throughout the country as well, right? There was one in Alabama just a month or two ago, right? It was a Phillips, or it was a Route 66 refinery. They're also draining the strategic oil reserves as well, right? This just a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago now, there was a massive drain of the strategic oil reserves, another activation of it, and they're taking out even more from it, right? And they haven't replenished it at all. So it's at all-time low levels. We are not in a position for a major war to break out, right? And we are already in the middle of this war as well. We're already seeing all these attacks on our food, on our energy, on our fuel, on our critical infrastructure. Okay, remember this massive cyber attack from Microsoft. All these things, they keep happening, all right? So make sure you are prepared. Make sure you're getting ready, all right? Please hit it up for me down there. It helps to get these warnings out so people know what's going on, because a lot of this stuff is not at the front of the news, okay? A lot of it is a distraction. A lot of it, they won't even tell you what's happening, that these fuel emergencies are happening, that they're trying to authorize joint resolutions to attack Iran, right? They will not tell you these things are happening in the mainstream news, because there's a mainstream narrative that they are allowed to push, they're allowed to talk about, and then there's a lot of things going on in the background that are the actual moving parts, that are actually things that are affecting the world, affecting your life personally. These things don't get talked about, right? They talk about very surface level things, most of the mainstream narrative, right? So I appreciate you guys helping to get the word out, spread the word. I appreciate you guys watching, all the support, all the love. I'm going to be back to regular scheduling here, all right? So be on the lookout every single day, keeping you guys updated. I hope you guys have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.